There, in today's video, we're going to talk about the language of manifestation. I know a lot of you want to learn how to manifest a lot of money. So let's talk about that. How do you manifest a lot of money? Well, it's not a magic wand. It's not a quick fix. So look at the link to this video. If you are ready and willing to learn how to do this the right way, this video can be a game changer. When it comes to learning how to manifest, I want you to understand how the law of attraction works. Like attracts like. Yeah, we all get that. But what you don't get, well, maybe you do, but what a lot of people don't get is that we are sending out a vibrational frequency with information on it. Okay, there are other frequencies out and about that resonate with our frequencies, and they find each other, and then that brings back to you a match to the information on the frequency that you are sending out. What most people don't really understand is that they're sending out information on this frequency about what they don't want. Now, let's take a look at this in regard to the idea of financial abundance. If you need more money, if you want more money, there's a good chance that you spend a fair amount of time thinking or worrying about not having money. That worry about not having money is information going out on that frequency. And you know what? This is just science. Frequency is like radio waves. The frequency you send out is found by a matching frequency that resonates with that information, and it brings the same experience back to you. So the first step, make sure you've got your pen and paper ready. I want you to write these steps down, because in the process of writing down this information, you are beginning the process of changing the information on that frequency that you are sending out. And guess what? As you send out information about what you do want, you're going to start receiving what you do want. Isn't that fabulous? This is not something that happens overnight. This is not a quick fix. This is not a magic wand, but it is how the law of attraction works. So let's get started with that first step. The first step is looking at the frequency that you're sending out. In other words, why don't you have enough money, right? What has kept you from doing this in the first place? Because this is going to be the information that's going out on the frequency right now. And we want to make peace with that. We don't want to say, oh, I have all of these negative beliefs and, I worry about money and all that, and just say, I don't want to do that anymore and try to be done with it. That's not how it works. We're just sending out the frequency then that I hate this frequency. That's not going to accomplish our goal at all. So we want to look at what you may have learned. What value has not having money brought into your life? Where's the benefit? Where's the value? What are you better at, or what's better about you in your perception because you haven't had money? Maybe you have learned to be a real bargain shopper. Okay, that's a benefit. Maybe you have learned to really prioritize what's important in your life. That is a huge value, a really, really good thing to have as a part of your life skill. Perhaps you have been given the opportunity to really, really stop and evaluate yourself. Take that really, really, really deep look inside to see who you are as a person and what you value and what really is important. So if not having money has brought those values to you, or if you can identify other values, jot those down, because what we want to do is we want to extract the value from this experience of not having enough money. We want to take the value, and as far as the rest of it goes, we want to thank it and bless it and send it on its way, because now we're sending out information on that frequency that says, thank you so much. I have received value from this, and I appreciate it. I have gratitude, and I'm ready to say goodbye to this in a very loving, gentle way as I move forward. Can you see the difference in the information on that frequency compared to the information that says, I'm so damn sick and tired of being poor. I'm worried about how I'm going to get money to pay the utilities. I don't have enough money to buy food. Groceries are so expensive. Gas is so expensive. What am I going to do? oh my God, freak out, right? Well, if that's where you've been, and if you have, I understand because I've spent a lot of my life in that boat. That is the information that's being carried out on that frequency. So let's change it. Look at the value and then look at the whole thing and say, thank you, thank you. I see the value. And I'm ready to thank you, bless you, send you on your way because I'm going to move forward now. So we're on to the next step. Take a minute, put this on pause if you need to, and jot down the value that you have found and offer that little prayer of gratitude for all the value. And then as far as the rest of it goes, thank it, bless it, send it away. You don't need that anymore. We're on to the next step. And we're on to step 2. This is a 12-step process, and I have written about this in my book called Mastering the Law of Attraction. So if you want to, have some way to like really go through this, I've also got several other videos explaining all 12 steps. But, some people like to write or read, look at books and scribble in them and all of that. So that's available to you. But let's take a look at step 2. This is where you're going to identify exactly what it is that you want. Now, I want you to be generally specific, or should I say specifically general? I know that makes no sense, but here's the thing. If you just say, I want to have more money, well, you know what? You could find a penny on the sidewalk and pick it up. Well, you got more money, right? It's only a penny though. So we want to be a little bit more descriptive about what it is that you want. Remember, this is information that's going out on these waves. It's like a song on the radio. That song is information on those radio waves. So what do you want? Here's some ideas. First of all, let me remind you, if you haven't watched my other videos, you may not know this. We want to make sure that we're using language that creates imagery of what we do want. Because if we use language that creates the imagery of what we don't want, that's what's going out. All of this information going out on these frequencies is it's imagery. It's not words. Okay, so we got to use the right words. Here's some ideas about what you may want. I find it easy to bring in more than enough money to suit my needs. Okay, that's a great outcome. I find it easy to manifest the financial resources I need to have a joyful life. Okay, those are great ideas. Take a moment and write that down. What is your outcome? This is like the main idea of this 12-step process. And what I'm going to have you do for the rest of these steps is I'm going to have you answer the rest of these steps as if the one you're writing right now were true, if this was your reality. I'm going to put myself in that position that right here, right now, I have more than enough money to meet all of my financial needs, period. Take a moment, jot that down, pause the video if you need to, and then we're going to go on to the next step. Now that you have figured out exactly what you want, I want you to brainstorm for a moment, and I want you to jot down all the things in your life that are going to be different, better, because you've accomplished the outcome. Remember, I told you, you need to answer these questions as if that were your reality. Yeah. So what's different in your life? Just kind of brainstorm. What's different? Oh, well, if I'm watching something on TV and it costs $2.99 to rent the movie, I just get what I want. I watch what I want on TV. I always have more than enough money to, keep gas in my car. If it's time for my car to go in for its, biannual checkup, I have plenty of money to pay for the filters and the tires and the things that I need to get from my car to keep it safe. Enjoy taking my family out to dinner, and money is no object. There's plenty of money to take my family out, have a good time. I enjoy something else. We go on vacation anytime we want, wherever we want. Jot down the things. Now, be realistic about it. Jot down the things that are going to be different, the things you notice, the changes you have created because you've accomplished your outcome, which basically is that you have more than enough money to meet your financial needs and desires. Write down, just brainstorm all the changes you notice. Take a moment, jot that down, and when you come back, we're going to go on to the next one. This next one is about imagery. I know we've already kind of talked about what this looks like, but here's the thing. The more time you spend on any particular topic, the more ideas you generate. And back to law of attraction, the more time you spend thinking about this stuff, well, all the stuff you're thinking about, This is information that's going out on your frequency, and it's finding, or it's being found by a frequency with the same information is coming back to you, and you're actually manifesting new ideas about financial abundance just by answering these questions. It's pretty cool, right? It doesn't take all day for this to kick in. Imagery. When you think about having accomplished this outcome and you look at all the evidence you just wrote down, what image comes to mind for you? Now, this can be literal or figurative. You know what? Maybe you see rainbows and butterflies. Cool, write it down. But what you may see is you may see yourself at the gas station, handing the guy your debit card and, completely comfortable, free from any concern about paying for this whole tank of gas. Maybe you see yourself at the grocery store, loading up your cart and getting all the food you want. Maybe you see yourself out on a date, going to a really nice restaurant and completely unconcerned about the cost of what you're doing. Write down what it looks like. Maybe you just see yourself happily skipping down the sidewalk. Nothing wrong with that, right? So take a moment and jot down what that looks like. Now, what you're doing in the process of this 12-step, this is called a personal change blueprint. This is what I use with my clients every single day, and it works. So you're sending out this frequency and you're bringing back more information. So after you've written down the imagery, coming back to the next one, this one is about sounds, kind of like you're making a little mind movie. And of course, every movie has a soundtrack. Tell me what sounds are associated with this change. That question stumps a lot of people, so let me prompt you. A sound can be the voice in your head. It may be comments from other people, or it could be the absence of a sound. What sounds are associated with you having more than enough money to cover all of your financial needs and desires? It's the sound of, perhaps, I'm just giving you examples here, the sound of laughter. It is the sound of the waves coming up on the beach because you're in Hawaii. Maybe it's the sound of you sitting in the boarding area at the airport and listening to them call your flight as you're getting ready to head to Europe. Maybe it's the sound of your partner just saying, honey, thank you for that wonderful dinner out. It was so nice to go to a nice restaurant. Maybe it's the sound of you telling somebody about the new pair of shoes you just bought for $200. Who knows? Just think about it. What sounds are associated with you accomplishing your outcome, which, in your own words, but has to do with your manifesting more than enough money to meet your financial needs and desires. Jot that down. When you come back, we're going to go on to the next step. And the next step is all about feelings. In other words, because you've accomplished this outcome, you always have more than enough money. What does it feel like? Physically, emotionally, psychically, whatever, right? How does it feel for you to be in this situation where you always have plenty of money, always more than enough money to meet your financial needs and desires? It's going to feel a sense of relief. You're going to feel liberated. You're going to feel empowered. You're going to feel happy. You're going to feel successful, a sense of accomplishment, and your body's going to feel good because you're going to be free from stress. You're going to be, maybe you feel so happy and so excited with all of this energy, you feel more like working out. Who knows? Stop and think about what it will feel like for you physically and emotionally because you've accomplished your outcome. Jot that down. When you come back, we're on to the next one. In this next step, we're talking about, it's kind of a summary step on this one. And what I want you to do is I want you to go back to the outcome and I want you to review, as if in story form, all of this information on these questions. This is your personal change blueprint. Now, as you review this and you're thinking about all of the stuff you've written down, your subconscious mind is turning it into imagery, and that is the information that's going out on the frequency. And guess what? There's other frequencies out there with like information. That's how law of attraction works. Remember, like attracts like. So there are other frequencies out there that have the same information as what you're sending out, and they resonate with each other, right? They're in harmony. and it brings that back to you. So go through that up to this point, and now you're at this next question. And this is where I want you to really kind of take a deep look inside and ask yourself, what does having this change do for me? You've got all the money you want now. You can pay your bills. You're free from worry. And take your family out or go out on a nice date whenever you want because you have plenty of money. What does having all of this do for you? You have good, reliable transportation. You can travel when you want. What does having all of that do for you? So this is where you're going to sort of summarize all of this. And as you're thinking about all of this stuff, remember, you're sending this information out, and it's going to resonate with like information and bring that back to you. So isn't that exciting? I think it's really exciting. I love doing this. I love showing people how to do this. We've got one more question, but it's got 5 little categories, but it is the same question. So after you've written down what having this change does for you, go on to the next part. And here's the question. What positive influence do you notice in, the first part is in the way you relate with people. Think about how you interact with people, anybody, everybody, friends, family, coworkers, neighbors, strangers. How does having accomplished this outcome, how does it positively influence the way you interact with people? In other words, because you've got enough money now to cover your financial needs and desires, what kind of positive change do you see in the way you interact with people, in your relationships? Are you more generous? Do you feel more kind, more helpful? Are you volunteering more? Do you see people in a new light? What positive change do you notice in the way you interact? Jot that down when you're done. Same question. What positive influence do you notice in your career or finances? Well, this is all about finances, right? So there's going to be a big change in that one. But write it down. What positive influence does this change have on your career and finances? Now, if you're a student, swap out the words career with education or your studies or something like that. When you're done with that one, come back. Maybe you need to pause and jot that down because I'm trying to go fast to keep this video from getting too long here. The next one is same question. What positive influence do you notice this time in your health? And I think there's going to be a big change in your health. Sometimes this one stumps people. If you can't think of anything to write on this one, let me ask you this. When you didn't have enough money, did that create any health problems for you that will now be gone? That makes it easier to identify, doesn't it? Well, you're probably going to be sleeping better. You're going to have less stress. Less stress means that you're going to have more energy. You're going to be awake and alert. You probably, perhaps, may be compelled to work out on a regular basis. You may be compelled to eat healthy, nutritious foods more often. All right. Now, health includes mental health, physical health, psychological health, all of that. So it's quite a wide umbrella. So take a look at your health. Maybe you'll need less antidepressants. Maybe your blood pressure will go down. Just think about what positive influence you'll notice on your health because you have accomplished your outcome. Get that jotted down and come back. Just two more. We're almost done. And then the next one that we're going to look at is your self-esteem. What positive influence do you notice on your self-esteem? If you are thinking that this belonged in the health category, you're right, but it's so important. I wanted to isolate it and just look at it by itself. You've got to be feeling a whole lot better about yourself because you're free from worry now. Oh my God, I feel so much better about myself because I can live the kind of life I choose. I can provide for myself, for my partner, for my children, for my community, whatever it is. How do you feel better about yourself now because you have more than enough money to meet your needs and desires? One more question after you get that jotted down. I want to ask you if there is a positive influence you notice, again, because you've accomplished your outcome. Is there a positive influence on your spiritual practice if you have one? If you don't have one, then you don't need to write anything down. You're done with this and just be patient and I'll skip over this I'll be done with this part very shortly. But you may find that if you have a spiritual practice, that you're able to attend that retreat that you've always wanted to go to. Or maybe you can buy the books that you wanted to, or go to the webinars or the seminars or whatever it is. Maybe you can donate to charity. That's all part of your spiritual practice. So because you've accomplished your outcome, meaning you got more than enough money to meet your financial needs and desires, what kind of positive influence do you see in your spiritual practice? That's the last question. Now that you've got this all written down, well, what are you going to do with it? It is my recommendation that you start going over this list on a regular basis. And if you can do it in the state of hypnosis, even better, because when you are in the state of hypnosis, or it's the same as a meditative state, you've reached this wall between conscious you and subconscious you. But you have to go over these details, and you have to remember to use language that creates the imagery of what you do want, because if your imagery is about what you don't want, that information's going out, and you know the drill. It's going to find like information. It's going to bring that back to you. I don't want you to say something like, I don't have to worry about getting the light shut off, because you just sent out a picture of you worrying about getting the light shut off. Well, guess what you're going to get back? Yeah, the situation where you worry about getting the light shut off. That's not what you want. You want to put out the energy and the picture that sees you being so happy and confident as you pay those monthly utility bills. There's always enough money to pay those bills. That sends out a whole different picture. This is it in a nutshell. Now, honestly, I'm talking nutshell because I've written a whole book about this, Mastering the Law of Attraction, your personal change blueprint. And this 12-step process I just walked you through is your personal change blueprint. You can apply it to everything under the sun. And as you're writing these answers down, you're changing the information on that frequency. And as you do this repeatedly, you entrain that frequency to bring that back to you on a regular basis. Number one piece of information and advice I want to give to you on this is that I want you to keep your focus on what it is you want. Do not try to figure out how it's going to happen. You can't know how it's going to happen. It will come to you in ways that will surprise and delight you. But if you try to figure out how this is going to happen, you're just going to get yourself mired down in the imagery of problems and obstacles and limitations, etc., etc. Don't do that. Keep your focus on what you want, what it looks like, what it feels like, what it sounds like, what this change, having this change does for you, what kind of positive influence it has on all these aspects of your life. And I will tell you, if you do this on a regular basis, you will have money showing up in the most interesting and surprising ways. So let me know how this goes for you. Please leave some comments below. Work with this for a couple of weeks, for you to get into this. Give it a couple of weeks to start really seeing some major change. Leave me comments, ask me questions. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Give me a thumbs up, and I hope this was helpful to you. I'm going to go make some other videos about how to manifest all kinds of other great things in your life too. Stay in touch, and happy manifesting.